What be the haps? Good to see you out there again. And I'm going to tell another tale of yesteryear. Whoa, boy, am I being moved on. What's going on here? I don't know what it was focusing on. The tell a tale about years ago, back in '93. My wife passed away, and my dealings with the insurance people. Now, my wife and I both worked for the government. I worked for a shipyard, and my wife worked for the supply depot that was inside that shipyard. Um, she passed away in '93 when she was 36, and that's a whole story in itself. But my dealings with the insurance people was really kind of bizarre, amazing. I went to the human resources person there that helped me fill out the paperwork. And one of the things that you had to provide was an original of the death certificate. Now, people don't know, they think, well, you get one original and then you just make copies. Well, government agencies don't want copies. So my dad had told me that what you do is you get originals. And when you go to the funeral home, you get, maybe like a dozen. You have to pay for it, but I got a dozen originals. And so this gentleman helped me fill out the paperwork for the insurance through where she worked, and I provided an original, and we got that shipped out. So time passed, and nothing happened. So I had him check on it. And he came back and said, well, what had happened is that they said I needed to provide an original death certificate. So I contacted these people and I said, that's all I have is originals. I didn't make a copy. And the lady's going, well, you can't provide a copy. I said, I didn't have a copy. I've never had a copy. I ordered a dozen originals, and that's what I sent you was an original. And so finally, out of frustration, I said, look, I'll send you another original. And we did that. The gentleman set it off. Time passed, and still nothing happened. Had him check on it. Well, now we were missing one of the forms. Now I remember filling out that form. The form he pulled out, he remembered filling out that form and mailing it all. So we filled out a new one, sent it off, and then there was another. A little while later, no, you don't have this form now. And we knew we'd filled out all the forms. So what the HR guy, the human resources guy, said was, well, they've obviously lost the file, and they're trying to rebuild the file from scratch, just blaming us for one at a time. And I asked the person, well, if this second one was missing, why didn't you tell us about it the first time? So anyway, we filled that out, and then again, time passed, and I was walking in the shipyard one day, and I go, wait a minute, I also had something on my policy for her, and all it is a burial expenses policy, $5,000, to help with burial expenses. So I went to my HR. We filled out all the same forms, and I sent off an original death certificate for that. Short while later, here comes a check with the $5,000. So they've paid. You know, it's the same branch of the United States of government, and so news comes back again that they don't have an original of the death certificate at the insurance office. So I get on the phone with this lady again. She goes, you know, you need an original. You can't send a copy. I said I didn't have a copy. You know, I sent an original. And I said, look, you people have already paid on a smaller claim through my insurance policy, the $5,000 burial part. So you have an original there. Why don't you go over to that file, take the original death certificate out, put it in the other file, and use that one to pay it off. She goes, well, we can't do that. I go, come on now. I said, look, there's a box on the form that says I can request the original back, and I want that original back now. She goes, okay. I said, mail it to me, care of your address. Mail it. When it gets to you, take it and put it in that other file. And she finally says, okay, okay. and decides to just deal with it. Some more time passed. No payment. So we call, and this time I decide to call the supervisor. So I asked for the person in charge of the office, and the person who took the call says, well, I'm sorry, he's out to lunch. You know, which was kind of odd. It was after 1 on the Pacific coast, which would mean it would be sometime around 4 on the East Coast, which is where that office was, I believe. You know, maybe they have a late lunch, or maybe it's at the bar at happy hour. I don't know. In any case, the gentleman wasn't at lunch. The person asked me, well, could I leave a message, you know, did I want to leave a message? And I started to say no, and I go, well, yeah. Tell him as soon as I hang up from this call, I am calling my congressman. And the person goes, hold on. And he hands the guy the phone. So I explained to him all that was going on. He connected me with this lady again, and she said that I'd marked the wrong box, that I'd marked the box for an annuity. I knew I hadn't marked the box for an annuity. I don't trust the government to give me an annuity. I wanted the money right then, and you know, so we got that arranged, and finally finally they paid off. But you know, it was just an incredible amount of bureaucratic red tape, and they were just covering their behinds. You know, and they make it seem like it's your fault rather than them just owning up to it and dealing with the situation. You know, if she'd have said we'd lost the file, I could be mad and go fill out all the stuff and send off another. But no, they had to make it seem like it was my fault that I hadn't filled out this form, which I had, or that form, or sent, you know, a copy rather than, you know, I'd sent a copy rather than an original when I never had a copy. I never made a copy. And that was evidenced by the fact that they paid off the smaller claim. And they paid off the other claim with the same death certificate I'd sent out before. So, or this, an original. So anyway, that's your tax dollars at work, and it makes me think that perhaps I should, maybe go just give them the Board of Education or something. Or the leather strop, or whatever you want to call it. But anyway, just another tale from yesteryear. You all take good care. Have a good night.